It's Michael Mechanical here, and today I just want to do a quick update on the Triton, since I haven't pulled it out yet or done anything. I had a couple of thoughts because I found out what's actually broken currently, but it doesn't mean that it's, better or worse. It just means it's worse because there's this bolt has been pulled out with a thread in it. Now, very clearly I can find the damage if I took the rocker cover off, which I'm going to get my hands dirty. So if I find a glove or something to grab the rocker cover off, I want to show people what's actually happened yet again. It's not the first time this sort of thing's happened, but it's a bit different this time. Rocker cover's off to the side, the bolt is still in and it's making a mess. But let's see what we can see. So there's the rocker arm assembly there, and you can see it's completely broken there. It's cracked there, and if I grab this one, it's hard, and if I grab this one, it's really loose. So it's actually damaged the top end, but surprisingly, I don't think the rocker arms themselves have actually broken. Some of them are new, some of them are old. But normally what happens is if you have a piston valve collision, it breaks the rocker arms in half, completely in half. This is unusual. I haven't really seen that happen. Normally what happens in that case and scenario is it doesn't snap the bar. Normally it pulls the caps completely out, and yet they're still seated from what I can tell. They haven't been pushed out. So it's really interesting, the development. And it's like as if maybe that's a reason why it's been consuming oil, potentially. And the reason I say maybe this, I have no idea if it's exactly what I think, but we've been losing oil. Where has the oil gone? I have no idea. But my guess now is, with the performance of the roller rocker arm assembly starting to fail, and the valves not opening and closing as they should, when the pistons are, trying to pour air in, they can't pull anything in because, the intake is shut. So what does it do to, fill that cylinder up? It'll probably pull in some oil. Now, with lowered performance from that, it would cause you to have the oil get pulled in from the rings and go straight into the cylinder. And from what I can tell, I think that's exhaust, that says it's intake. That's exhaust, that's intake. So, maybe not that exactly. That would push out. I think the theory and hypothesis there is not really accurate and true. I'm thinking about it, because exhaust would make sense where the oil's been going out of the exhaust pipe. But in this case and scenario, I'm not really sure. But it doesn't mean that I can just replace that and think, oh yeah, everything's going to be good and sweet again. That actually has an oil channel in it, and it would lower the oil pressure across the engine just from that failing. And even if I did replace it, the cap still needs to be replaced, and then it needs to be, reseated to the bearing. And even if I do that, if there's any lower end damage, just running this is just going to cause more harm than good anyway, even with the low oil level. So, no matter what I think about, I could take another risk in getting this thing running again, it's probably not worth it. I think the damage is there, but we don't know how much damage, and we don't know how recoverable this is. This needed a proper rebuild, and I think it's about time it gets one. It's not going to get it today, it's not going to get it tomorrow, it'll get it in the near future. And maybe if I build another motor after, then maybe I'll consider, selling something out in the market. So whoever needs a 4D56 for their car, because it's a consideration to make. The one in the shed is too expensive to sell. I'm keeping that. That's mine. But yeah, whatever I can put together, maybe I can put on the market. So it's kind of looking okay in the sense that it's not as bad as I thought at this point, but I still don't have the full breakdown on what's actually wrong and what's gone wrong. We know that, hey, this one thing's gone wrong, but what if there's more damage down the lower end? We can't assess what's together. And we're going to be swapping it out anyway. There's no point in trying to keep this thing going. I'm at the point where, I can see it as potentially an opportunity to get this thing running again. I think there might have been piston valve collision, but I don't know, and I have no way of actually proving if there was or not. I have no way of proving if there's any lower end damage to this that's excessive now. But when I think about all my experience and stuff, I know that my failures and the things that have gone wrong for me has only realistically been because in different scenarios, I haven't had enough money to do the job properly. And I've never been able to have enough money to do the job properly. This thing here, the new motor that's going in here is about $6,000. Give or take a little bit more than that. I think I have about $45,000 to $5,000 in parts for it, and then about $1,600 on the injection pump, plus $400 on the injectors, so that's $2,000. That's $2,000 right there. And you still have problems. Then the motor in the shed had $4,000 parts, so add $2,000 onto that, $6,000. Roughly $6,000 has been spent on getting together a new assembly, a new assortment of parts and stuff to put this thing together. And everything's not even perfect, but I've done the best I can, and mistakes have been made along the way. I had an opportunity while this was running to potentially put the motor on the back of here when I had good bolts. I should have done it. I should have just done it when I had the opportunity, because I could have pinched these, put them into the other motor, and then taken it to get machined, and made it so the head gaskets could be cheaper. But unfortunately, it's too late for that. I have no ute. I have no way to transport it. Unless I get a courier to pick it up and take it there. But then I have to hope that the guy can... Yeah, it'd be a little bit of organising. It'd be a little bit more expense. But long term, it wouldn't need expensive $500 head gaskets made up for it. So yeah, that's the case and point I've got there. But with a thicker gasket, I think the 1.7, even with the piston shaped, means that there will be more clearance in there, that if you wanted to have a higher rev range, you're not likely to hit the piston valve collision as likely. Or if you have wear and tear at the bottom end, it's not likely to hammer the head off, or try to hammer the head. But for me, the mistakes that you see, you think, we can think all we like that I'm making mistakes. The mistake that I've made is I haven't let myself save up enough money to be able to fix these things properly. If I did rebuild this engine properly, I wouldn't have any issues, but I haven't had the money to do directly this one. I've had to use this one to keep the whole car going, to keep my wheels going so I can go to work and earn some money. The one in the shed is just the one that I could do on the side without, having to do it. I don't have to do it because I've got this. When this is not running, it won't matter anymore because I have a new motor in the car. And I have enough receipts on the other motor that it makes sense on where the value is. This whole car has cost a lot of money for me. But in the end, I feel like it's been worth it because it's done me a lot of good. It's done me a lot of good. But it's also, done me a lot of bad too with the things going wrong with it. There's still a lot of work to get done, and I think I need to try and get as much done as I possibly can before time runs out, I'll call it. Yeah. But I want to do this as best as I can. I was planning on doing the engine, and I was planning on putting, yet again, and there's another gearbox there. That was another project. I'm not going to do two things at once because it costs too much money. And that's why I haven't touched that. But also because we don't have the room to do all this stuff. There's too much stuff around, and we have too many cars and bits and pieces. This one here needs to go together, and it could go together, but my dad has a task to do, and he's not in the mood. I'm just looking to see if there's any rust. It doesn't look like it's too bad. But we were going to potentially, with this injection pump here on the side, get that taken off and checked, rebuilt properly, and make sure that's in good nick, because what happened to mine could happen to this, and it won't be good if it actually happens. So it's better to be safe than sorry. As for my car, I did want to leave the engine out. I did pull the engine out without the intent of, putting it back in. And then I put it back in with the intent to do it while Mum's car is getting serviced and repaired and stuff, and I get called in for work. I didn't get called in for work. So when I did put my car back on the road, it didn't really pay off as expected. I was expecting to earn more money, but I didn't earn more money. I actually put more effort in that I didn't need to, and I, exhausted myself. So, as I was saying, I think in one of my earlier videos, that I'm not going to show videos on putting the engine back in, or pulling it out again, because I have the videos of pulling this engine out, that I don't need those videos again. They've been done. We don't need them. What we need is the video of putting the new engine in this thing, and finishing building that, and doing that, and addressing those issues. Yesterday, actually I don't have a key to the shed, but yesterday I did some more work on some bits and pieces for the car. I've cleaned some bits and pieces up. I've done a little bit. So I'm going to go grab the keys and we'll go have a look at the turbocharger. Oh, something smells like it's smoking in here or something. I don't know, that smells wrong. That smells weird. But yeah, let's go have a look what I've actually done. Because, I'm not going to worry about the Triton as it is now. I'm just going to consider other alternatives. I don't want to stress myself out with my own car. I've been trying not to do a half-assed job on the new motor for various reasons. I know there's a half-assed job because I got the honing tool and I re-honed the cylinders because of an issue. I didn't half-ass the deck of the block because I had that redone because the job was poor that I tried to do to fix it. The only thing that I feel like I've half-assed at this point with the motor is thinking about where the oil's been coming from. There's a key in here, and then there's the spline, the oil spline, and that is the only thing that I feel like I need to put some silicone on it when it goes together, because I have oil leaks on my car, and Dad's car has oil leaks, and it's at the same position, and I'm guessing that's the oil spline, and that's why you need to put some silicone on it. But here's the turbocharger. I just put the I got some studs together because it didn't come with studs or nothing. So this is one that's made in China apparently, and I bought this boycott China sort of stuff. But I did need a turbo, and it was the wrong turbo, and I couldn't afford a proper turbo. And then I had no money when I bought this, so when I had money, I half paid the other one. The studs. And when I bought the wrong one, then I had to order another part, which is this one here, to be compatible with that turbocharger, because I wasn't going to be able to send it back. It would have cost a lot of money, because these studs are a little bit different in lengths. And this is for a Pajero, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it. And I've still done a halfy job on the machining work thingy there, because I put a block on it. I'm going to try and get this upright. Most likely upright. Close the valve. Half-baked job. This is what happens when you have no hands. Okay, let's get this. Pick it up. Yep, close that. There you go. There's your studs. But this is because I'm gonna try and make this motor a bit better than the last. So, yeah. I got the wrong parts, but at the same time, they offered me a better opportunity for the car to do something different. So, those studs fit, and it all fits nicely. Now I just have to get ready to do what I've got to do. If I can get parts for it, even gaskets and stuff, then I might even get some spares for that, because it's unusual for this car. It's not really what it was fitted with. But the good news is, when we're talking about Pajeros, that's a Pajero motor. Pajero. Last but not least is one thing that I still wanted to get. There's a few things I wanted to get left before I put everything together and used things. I wanted to get a new one of them. the caps, and then a new wire down here for the pump and filter assembly for the injection pump, because then the light will tell me when I have an issue there with water in it and it's full of water and it needs to be drained. And this is because this might be pulling in air from up in the seal area, and I'd like to have new seals, but also want to make it look nice and pretty. But also I wanted some new injector lines, like injector rails, because they're old and they look disgusting, and it would be nice to have brand new components going together, not second-hand stuff. Not to mention, this pump looks beautiful. So I know things have failed, I know things haven't gone quite to plan or well or anything, but I can't change anything. All I can do is hope that this week I get my parts. By the weekend I get this car back running again with the new motor. That's the time frame I've got right now for what I'm hoping. So this might be in 7 days from now complete. That's the ambition right now, and I have to pinch parts from that engine anyway, because I don't have another crank pulley that suits the round tooth gears. I can only use square tooth. But yeah, that means this is gonna get scrapped for parts anyway. So I have my ambitions to do things right. My ambitions have always been to try and do things as well as I possibly can. But when I say as well as I possibly can, there are people out there with very low budgets, and they have things that cost thousands and thousands of dollars to repair, especially if they want a long life. My only advice to my past self, in the sense of, you know, wanting to fix this up really well and keep it going, I should have bought another car, or at least in another case and scenario, maybe I could be a dummy and say this, but spent the money on this that I thought this needed, get this thing running and use this, because this was the most closest to best condition that we could have, and this was done pretty well, but not 100% right. I mean, the learning experience has paid off from this, and I've learnt things that I wish I learnt earlier. This is pretty much assemblable and drivable at this point, but Dad doesn't want to use the exhaust manifold. He wants mine, but I'm not giving him mine. Anyway, I know I'm rambling, and I wanted to make this the shortest video I could possibly do it, but I didn't. I made this long. I think at this point in time, I hope you guys can see that, hey, you know, things have broken here, yes. And while it is stressful initially and things, you know, aren't fun or fair or whatever, the greatest part about this right now is I get to smile about the fact that this is actually going to come out and that's going to go in. Hopefully in 1 week. Hopefully in 1 week. But there's also another possibility too. When this does come out and I'm going to be waiting for parts, I might have an opportunity to clean up the engine bay as much as I can. You know, just clean it up, fix things up with the rails and unbolt things. Potentially buy some paint, clean this engine bay out, just the engine bay, not the hood, just the engine bay, and paint it. So when I put the new engine in, this thing is clean and looks good. But I won't be able to do everything, obviously. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be doing it right either, but we'll see how things go and go from there. Because, you know, there's all the paint chipping off here, and it needs a bit of paint. So there's a whole bunch of opportunities right now, and I don't have a job, so I lost my work. I almost got another job, and then I got injured, and then that cost me. And then it's at the point where it's like, I feel like giving up. I actually do, in some ways, feel like giving up, because apparently they won't give me the heavy work because I had sore legs for, 3 days. It was how bad. It was bad for 3 days, and then after that I still had pain, but it wasn't as bad. I could have worked, but they decided I'm too high risk of getting an injury and can't recover from it quick enough. So, oh well. But anyway, guys, thank you very, very much for your support and your time, and I hope that when I make these videos you understand that I'm never ever in a position where I can do things exactly the way I want them. I've never been able to do it because I've never had financial backing to do the job. So thank you very much, everyone. Michael Mechanical out.